This podcast is part of the Batman Universe Podcast Network, hosted by the BatmanUniverse.net. Check out everything related to Batman and the entire Bat family at the BatmanUniverse.net, including news and original content related to comics, movies, television, merchandise, video games, and more. Also, check out some of the other unique podcasts that TBU has to offer. Consider supporting this podcast by becoming a patron on Patreon. Even $1 can go a long way in supporting this content that you enjoy. Look for a link over at thebatmanuniverse.net to offer your support now. And now, on with the show.
Scarecrows frightened of the clouds, laughing boys. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Shine and signal, come out to play. I am a Batman. I am a Batman. Bring it on, Batman. Jump out your cave, 'cause I am a Batman. I am a Batman.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to Tim G 311, episode 212. My name is Tim, and joining me, as always, is Dane. Dane, we're on a roll, 2 episodes in a row. I mean, we're off to a hot start.
Yeah, let's make it a habit, Tim.
Imagine that.
I did want to talk about something, Tim, and that is Oakland A's baseball.
That's always a sour subject for you, I know. So if you need to vent, this is your place to do it.
Okay. So Marcus Semien, the A's don't resign him for. I mean, they put forth an offer, but we'll get to that in a second. I don't know if you saw it, Tim, what the A's offered him.
No, I didn't.
Okay, good, because it's really embarrassing. Really embarrassing. Okay, so you go
just above the major league minimum wage.
I'm not sure about that, but
not that bad.
Let me get to it. Okay, so the A's offer him something. He turns it down, and he goes to Toronto for $18 million. I think there's an 18.5. I'm not sure. But then it comes out that the A's offered him $12.5 million for 1 year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. Sounds
the
best.
That's a solid major league contract for 1 year.
Yeah, that's the best the A's can do, I guess, with what they have. So $12.5 million, right? So that's $2.5 million for that 1 year. Okay. Mm. And then $1 million a year for the next 10 years.
Oh wow!
After that,
they're going to defer it. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm assuming there's interest on that. There's some kind of interest, like a Bobby Bonilla situation. Just
that's
not
exactly what I was thinking of.
but yeah, that was what the A's offered. $2.5 million up front. And then $1 million for the next 10 years after that. You couldn't offer anything else for him. I mean, the A's have the lowest payroll in all of baseball. I mean, let's just say it. I mean, I don't know the numbers right now. The numbers haven't come out yet. People haven't calculated. But let's just assume, Tim, that the A's have the lowest payroll again in Major League Baseball. Couldn't you? Where's all this money going? From merchandise, from ticket sales, from MLB.TV, from all of these other things. I mean, like, where's this money going? Is it just going into the owner's pocket? I mean, where's the money? I'm so like this is like the final straw. Like, I'm so sick of not being able to afford to keep players. Matt Chapman, Matt Olson, I think both of their contracts are up this year.
So if the A's don't have a good season, they'll be gone in the middle of the year probably.
Yeah, they don't have a good season. They're going to be gone. They're going to be traded away. if they do have a good season, they're gone at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Um,
They're gone either way. It's just a matter if it's during the season or after the season.
yeah. Regardless. And I think the Mets showed interest in Chapman. That they wanted Chapman, so he's gone. I don't know if to the Mets or not, but he's gone. Period. Probably to the Padres.
I think they got a third baseman for a while, so I don't think they're gonna get him.
I don't know. The Padres can use him anywhere. So yeah, I just felt like I had to say that. I just had to get it out. I just had to vent about the Oakland A's and not being able to retain players for more than 3 seasons.
Did they trade
course,
Chris Davis too?
Yeah, for Elvis Andrews.
Ooh, oh wow.
Yeah. Well, he didn't have a good season last year, so that wasn't as bad.
Okay.
As,
I mean, but he was like the home run leader a couple of years ago in the American League.
yeah, but then he went kind of cold after that. Like he was like, yeah.
And what was his record? He hit like 246 exactly for like 3 straight years or something like that.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was it. Or was it 48?
Yeah, it was some weird number, but it was exactly the same for 3 straight seasons, which was so odd.
Yeah, so that one didn't hurt as much as Marcus Semien. I guess it's just another year, Tim. It's just another one of those years, unfortunately. I mean, I know I complain about this every single year, every single baseball season.
But at the same time, they do surprise you. One of those seasons they did last year.
Yeah, they did. I wonder if they're gonna break their own record of the lowest payroll to make the playoffs again. I think that was 2017. But I don't know. You know, I just hope it doesn't get to the point where like there was that one season. I can't remember. I think it was 2016. That no player after the All-Star break was on the roster before the All-Star in spring training. Sorry.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's a complete change.
That sounds like an Oakland A's record.
Yeah. But yeah, where's the money?
Well, we know it's not going into the stadium.
Where's John Fisher? You know, the A's owner, the heir to the Gap fortune. You know, he's the 8th richest owner in all of baseball. I'm not sure now that I'm not sure where he stands now, but like he's the 8th richest owner in all of baseball, and you can't shell out a few more million to retain Marcus Semien. I don't know.
And with Billy Beane not there anymore, it's like
I know
he can't work his magic with the payroll flexibility that he has.
I know because he wants to, go with I guess is it John Henry's company or is it the Red Sox company?
I don't think it's not specifically the Red Sox, but he's working for one of the Red Sox owners. I think it is John Henry.
Yeah, it's John Henry, right? He wants to go in and do the European football thing, and more power to him.
Yeah, he put his time in, that's for sure, with Oakland.
Oh yeah, but it's tough being an Oakland A's fan, Tim. Like every time I see like these big free agent signings, it's like I just wish the A's could do that.
I know, well, like especially when you see Trevor Bauer's contract with the Dodgers, where he's gonna make like $40 million a year. Is that pretty much close to the A's payroll, or is it over the A's payroll?
Yeah, like I texted you. He's gonna make $40 million a year. The A's, the entire team now is the payroll is $70 million.
Oh man!
So Trevor Bauer is making more than half of the A's entire payroll.
Yeah, so pretty much Trevor Bauer and Mookie Betts are making the entire Oakland A's team payroll. Just those two players.
Essentially, yeah. So yeah, I'm just so sick and tired of this, Tim. Every single year, I mean, I know I complain about the same exact thing. There's no money. There's no money. There's no money. There's no money. But ah,
I don't know, Dan.
this
You
one
thinking of going
year,
back to the Mets?
nah, they have some serious problems, if you know what I mean. And it's
Should be
I'm
a
not
good team,
talking about the
though.
baseball. Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
talking about the baseball, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Former employees of the Mets.
former employees. I think there is an employee. I'm not sure, but yeah, former employees. Yeah, but it's it's so it's so bad. The slow payroll team can't keep the stars. You're playing in a dump. Doesn't look good. But there is the positive. The A's just this new ballpark. They just cleared another big hurdle in this in trying to get their new waterfront ballpark. So
There you go.
there is that.
Yeah, at
Yeah,
least got something.
yeah. But I mean, you see, that's another thing. Like, I don't know if it's just a regional thing, the Oakland Alameda County thing, but this ballpark seems so hard to get. Whereas, like the Yankees, it's like if there's a little crack in the concrete, you know what? Let's tear down the entire stadium. Let's build a brand new one. You know, it's like
Well, I think
the
the Braves got
A's.
their new stadium just because they wanted a better parking lot, and they got a new
Yeah,
stadium.
yeah. I don't know. It's just so complicated and so hard, and people are still fighting for it. But it's like, why can't anything go right in Oakland? Uh, it's can't retain our players, lowest payroll, can't win a playoff series besides last year.
Thanks to an extra round.
Thanks to extra round. Can't get a new stadium. Can get a new stadium, but it's mired in city and county politics. It's like one thing after another thing after another thing. Maybe if the A's win the World Series, maybe that'll go easier because, well, I guess it's a sort of different situation with the Golden State Warriors, where they they just moved out of Oakland and went to San Francisco. So because there's no San Francisco basketball team.
Well,
But
all this misery that you're going through, Dane, it'll all make an eventual World Series championship that much more sweeter when it does happen. We
yeah,
just don't know when.
could be this year, could be 50 years from now.
Hopefully, hopefully we're still doing this podcast when the Oakland A's win a World Series, because it's going to be a celebration and elation like no other for you, I imagine, Dane.
Yeah, it'll be the greatest day of my life, Tim. I probably will cry.
And we got to get it all recorded.
Yeah. On camera, on audio.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be our first video
Uh,
podcast.
uh, yeah, I just need to get that off my chest. It's just so hard to get to be an Oakland A's fan, especially when you don't know what you're going to see on the field. You don't know what the quality of the product on the field is going to be. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like, is this going to be another no players attended spring training or on the roster anymore?
It's always good to let it out, Dane. So
Yeah,
don't hold that stuff in.
yeah. And plus, too, it's the last season with COVID. There's no fans there. You don't get to see the people in right field, banging on drums and trash cans. And, I told you during that the A's Yankees ALDS, somebody brought in a tuba. into a stadium.
Right.
But yeah. End of rant, Tim. End of rant.
Can't forget that.
Yeah.
Well, as always, hopefully doing the podcast will cheer you up from your Oakland A's blues, Dane. It started off on a downhill, but then it raises your spirits up by the end of this. Hopefully. But it's a monumental episode for us. We had the ending of our Dark Knight Rises minute by minute commentary on our last episode. And that means we're starting our brand new one. And this is going to be a while. 7 years for the Dark Knight Rises. But going with, as we announced last episode, Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring, extended cut. Clocking in, I have it set up right here, Dane. We are looking at 3 hours and 48 minutes. Now, obviously that's with the credits, and probably not going to do the whole credits, but probably a good 3 hours and 40 minutes. So pretty much an hour more than the Dark Knight Rises, an hour and some change. So strap yourselves in. Maybe, hey, how about this? Maybe when we finish the Lord of the Rings 1 minute by minute commentary, that's when Oakland will win the World Series on the same episode.
I don't know. We might have to do the whole trilogy, and the Hobbit movies for the A's to win a World Series. But I do have to ask you, Tim, because you didn't quite answer my question last time.
Okay.
Last episode. So when they go to the mines of Moria, you remember that question I had?
Yeah.
And like, or before they get there, I guess on the way or whatever, they I can't quite remember, but Gimli is like selling them like it's Disney World, right? Like this is going to be the greatest thing that's ever been conceived by dwarves, by humans, by elves, by hobbits, by orcs, by trolls, whatever, right? This is going to be the greatest thing. My cousin's there. He's going to hook us up. You know, we're going to drink. We're going to eat. We're going to party. But then, like, they get there and they've obviously been attacked by those. Is it goblins or trolls or something?
Yeah, goblins and trolls.
Goblins and trolls. Yeah, right. And that big monster thing.
Balrog.
Balrog. And they've been dead for a while. Looks like. I mean, they look mummified, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when was the last time that Gimli spoke to his cousin or whatever? Because
I didn't do extensive research, but I did kind of just look it up quickly after you asked me that. I believe it was about 30 some odd years, something like that.
30 years.
Yeah.
Because he's making it sound like, oh, I just saw him like last week. You know, he's gonna hook it up.
Well, I'm not sure on the dwarves' lifespan if it's longer than normal humans. I don't know that detail. Obviously, we know elves are immortal, but I shouldn't say immortal, but because they can't get killed, but they don't age and they won't die by old age. But with dwarves, I'm not sure if their lifespan's longer than normal humans. So maybe 30 years doesn't seem like a long time between dwarves.
I guess. Yeah, I'll take your word for it then. I don't know.
Well, I imagine this will come up again once we get to that part in the commentary.
Okay. Yeah. 4 years from now.
Yeah. So put a pin in that one.
Yeah.
All right. So I am ready to dive into this because Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring in particular, is probably my third favorite movie of all time. It's Empire Strikes Back, The Dark Knight, and then this one. And Fellowship and Dark Knight, like, go back and forth for that number 2 spot. It's usually what I watched last, so that's like my favorite one. And then I watched Dark Knight. Oh, this is my second favorite movie ever. I watched Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, this is my second favorite movie ever. So they go back and forth, but those definitely in my top 3. So I'm excited to get into this one. So as always, you want to get your relevant media format that the Fellowship of the Ring is going to be on. So it might be on even some more older medias because this movie came out in 2001, way longer before The Dark Knight Rises. So there might be some other dead media we don't even know about that this may be on. But you can get your VHS copy, your Betamax copy, your DVD copy, your HD DVD copy, your Laserdisc copy, your Netflix physical disc copy, your Blockbuster membership card to go rent it. I believe there was still some Blockbuster back in 2001, so you might have that actually. And then your projector, your forgetting the DVHS copy.
Yeah, you got it.
The
You got
HD
it.
VHS copy.
And your DVHS player, because you can't just put it in a regular VHS
That's
player.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Can't do that. Then, as always, just like the Dark Knight Rises best version was, I think you could say the same for Fellowship of the Ring, but the way it was meant to be seen, your VHS converted copy to DVD. That's your two standards right there. So,
if you converted those Hobbit movies because they have that higher frame rate or whatever
that's right, yeah.
to the VHS, I wonder how that would look. Would it look like different? Would it look awful?
I imagine it would. I know that higher frame rate, no one really liked it, so maybe it would actually look better if it doesn't capture that.
To be honest, I can't tell the difference.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen it in that higher frame rate, so
But
I wouldn't know for sure.
Yeah.
But if you got it ready now, this sounds strange just saying this, but cue it up to the 0 mark. So I used to give you these different hours, minute numbers, but we're on 0. So we're going to go from 0 to the first minute. And this might just be the opening logos for the studio. We'll see if we'll get to an actual scene. But we got to start from the beginning. So are you ready, Dane?
Sam.
Our second minute-by-minute movie commentary begins in 3, 2, 1, go. As we see the New Line Cinema logo. And I actually, the first time I heard of New Line Cinema in this logo was with the very first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. That was the first time I heard of New Line Cinema. I always associate that logo with that movie. But it's nice to have it with Lord of the Rings, too. And even though you can't hear it, the music right away just immediately, I think, brings you into the world of Middle Earth so perfectly. Howard Shore's score is just amazing. Still black. I should have put the subtitles on to see if we're hearing Galadriel give the prologue.
The world has changed or something.
Yep. I got to remember to do that for my next time we do the minute-by-minute commentary. Because right now it's all just black.
It's just...
There it is. The Lord of the Rings. I love that logo, too. Great theme for the movie, too. Oh, so good.
It's old.
Yeah, that's why it's so good. Yeah, it's like an ancient tale you're about to be told.
So is that Elven language that we heard in the beginning over or under Kate Blanchett's monologue? Is that an actual language?
Yeah, it is now. Pretty much, yeah. Tolkien pretty much created a whole real language for the elves.
So I could go out and learn it like I learned Spanish or German or French.
Yep, you absolutely could.
Wow. I think I'm going to do that, Tim.
That'd be awesome. I would actually like to do that. If you're going to learn a language, why not learn a fictional one?
Yeah. But we have the featured topic coming up, and I'm gonna spring a surprise on you, Tim. A surprise game.
A surprise game,
if you don't mind. Yeah, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Yeah. So, as you know, our last episode, I was quizzing Tim if he knew 311 songs by, what was it, the track number and the album name?
Yeah, because I said I could list every single 311 track in order from every official studio album release.
Right. That was it. Okay, so surprise game. Can you name a lyric? I mean, can you? If I give you a lyric, can you name the album title, the year, and the track number?
That's going to be tougher. I'm not going to lie. But I
Alright.
am willing to give it a shot.
Okay, let's go. So I have three. And I'm not going to tell you which albums they're from. I mean, they could be from the same album. They could be from three different albums or two different albums. So the first one is Hear Me Talking About Let It Be Known It Can Be Done.
Yeah, see, that's already tough.
Hear Me Talking About Let It Be Known It Can Be Done.
Yeah, so, man, this is a good idea, Dan. You're already kind of stumping me on the first one.
Yeah.
I knew just one line of lyric. It's going to be tough. Can you give me a little more?
Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna give you a hint then.
Okay.
The song is 3 minutes and 47 seconds.
Yeah, that's not going to help. But
Okay, if you jumped into it, you would get wet.
Okay. I might have an idea of what it is.
Okay.
So what do you say you're looking for? You're not looking for the song title. You're looking for...
I'm looking for all three. So song title,
Okay.
album, track number.
I'm going to go... Is it song title, Two Drops in the Ocean?
Yeah. Yeah. You got
Okay.
it.
Track number 9 on the
Yeah.
album Uplifter,
And what year?
2009.
Oh my god. You're such a nerd.
Well, not as nerdy as I could be because I couldn't get it on just one line from the lyrics. I could
Yeah,
be
but
nerdier.
Who can do this for 311?
I would love it if they had a real contest like this. I would love to try it out. I'd probably choke though. But if it's like lyrics like you're giving me, I might be in trouble.
Okay, so second one.
Okay.
From the copper to the kettle.
See
From
that
the
was
copper.
that does sound familiar as like a line I sing sometimes.
From the copper. I've heard you talk about this, Tim. I've heard that's another clue, I guess you could say. From the copper.
Oh man, it's like on the tip of my tongue too. Like when I hum it, like I can feel it, but it's not coming just yet.
From the copper to the kettle.
It's gonna kill me when I realize what it is when I'm not getting it right away.
You want a second lyric? Second line?
Yeah. Give me another one.
Okay. I climbed so many mountains.
See, this is gotta be the next step in my 311 fan. I'm just getting memorizing every lyric for every song so I can get it in the snap.
How many albums do they have? Like 9?
And they got 13 official studio albums.
Yeah.
Not to mention compilations, live albums.
From the copper to the kettle, I climbed so many mountains. And that's not right. That's not the second line after that.
Oh, I think I got it.
Okay, what is it?
Okay. The song Sand Dollars.
Okay.
If that's right, then it's track 5 from the album Stereolithic.
And what year?
2014.
You nerd. Nerd, Tim. Oh my god.
It took me a while for that one though. But the mountain line did help. I will say that. I remember that.
Okay.
I climbed so many mountains. I remember that melody for that lyric right there.
Okay, so I'm not going to give you a second line then. The third and final one. Let's see if you can go 3 for 3. and get a 1.0 batting average.
Yeah.
If you like learning, life is large.
See, that's another one that's like the Sandler. It's like lyric. I know it. Just got to place it with the melody with it.
If you like learning, life is large.
Man, again, something that I got it. It's almost there, but if there's
It's
any other if there's any other 311 fans listening right now, they're probably screaming, saying, "We know it right away. Why can't you just say it?" Yeah,
okay. So
you gotta give me something else. I'm gonna be stumped.
Yeah. I'll give you a hint. It's a number.
Okay.
What is it?
Okay, I got it. I think I got it.
You got it?
Yes.
Okay. What is it?
The song is 6
Mm-hmm.
off the album Grassroots,
Yeah.
and the track number is it should be 12,
Okay.
and the year 1994.
You know how hard I worked on this, Tim?
Hey,
To try to stump you with like basic lines from the song.
well, technically, you did stump me. I mean, I didn't get them just off the lyrics you gave. You had to give me a line here or a hint there. So
Yeah, but I mean, I tried to not like, you know, come original, and the lyric is come original on
yeah,
this album from this year. You know, like I really tried to like just be like, if you like learning, life is large. Like just like a regular, what sounded to me like a regular sentence that you couldn't get, that you would just breeze right over. But
yeah.
damn
See,
you, Tim.
the
Jesus.
diehard 311 fans think I should get those just by hearing those lyrics without any
Yeah.
hints. So I got to work on that.
I wonder if anybody can just do that, like, oh, no problem, I got it. Or if
Because the
they be
problem
like
is
you.
there's just so many 311 songs with 13 albums, and you mentioned throwing B-sides and unreleased songs out there, and all the lyrics that go
Yeah.
into their song. And they have a lot of lyrics because with the rapping they do on some of the songs, you can squeeze in a lot of lyrics with some rapping. So there's a lot of them out
Oh,
there.
yeah, but like, I don't know. I tried to find the songs that weren't hits that I've never heard you
Which I
mention.
appreciate. You go with the deep cuts. I love that.
Yeah, the deep cuts. And then I tried to find just a regular line from something.
So how do you do research this? You just type in 311 lyrics, or you just pick out album at random and look at the lyrics for a song at random?
Yeah, yeah. So like, I just went to Wikipedia. I just picked out some. I just went to their discography, and then I just picked the album that I've never heard you mention, except for that Stereolithic. Because I know you're really big on that one, right?
Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. But
Well, if you want to make this a new theme on a new game for every episode, I'm down. It'll be up to you to stop me.
Yeah, I gotta pick something a little harder. Maybe like off of their newest album where you don't really know all the lyrics yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
Are they
it'll be
coming out
something I
with
look
a new
forward
album
to.
recently?
What's that?
Are they coming out with a new album pretty soon?
No, nothing on the horizon. They haven't really. They've like come up with some music ideas while in quarantine during the pandemic, but they haven't actually gone to the studio or recorded anything. So I think this like writing phase is just barely starting for hopefully an upcoming album.
I see. But yeah, you got me, Tim.
Well, you
I
kind
was
of
gonna
got me
get
too.
you,
So
but
I applaud the effort. All right. But with that, after hopefully a new segment of 311 trivia to try to stump Tim, we could go into our feature topic for this episode, which is going to be my review for Batman: The Soul of the Dragon, the latest animated movie. Now, this has kind of been out for a while. It's been out digitally for probably over a month, and this came out on Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray 2 weeks ago. So, giving our long hiatus, kind of catching up on certain things. But I did see the movie once it came out on 4K Blu-ray, and I was excited for this one just because how different and unique it was, being a Batman movie in the style of 1970s kung fu action. And seeing the trailer for it, it looked really cool. I mean, the animation style is kind of that typical DC movie universe character or animation style, I should say, but the character models and how they look is very 70s. It was just a nice blend altogether, and just having to be built up as this throwback to 70s kung fu movies. And I think the movie really delivered on that and more. I really, really enjoyed this one. I loved the premise. The action on it was really good. The animation, like I mentioned, fit really well. So this was just a very, very enjoyable new Batman movie. And to be honest, Batman really isn't the forefront of this. It's more of a Bruce Wayne story than a Batman story. He's definitely Bruce Wayne more than Batman in this movie, which was kind of different, but something I appreciated because the stuff with Bruce was just really, really great. And what I really loved about it is just the dynamic between the main characters in this. You got Bruce, you got Richard Dragon, who is kind of the other main character of this. You can argue that it really is his movie more than Bruce. And then you got Ben Turner, a.k.a. Bronze Tiger, and then Lady Shiva. So those are your four main characters. And what I really loved about the movie is how it took place, or it was a non-linear movie where it just wasn't taking place in the current time setting of the story, but there was flashbacks to Bruce training. You see him travel to Nanda Parbat, and he meets with this old sensei there and kind of takes him to this almost like the land of Shangri-La in the Himalayan mountains, where it's a secret place where only the very few get to train. And those who are training there was Bruce, Richard Dragon, Ben Turner, and Lady Shiva. But there was also these two other characters, one named Jade and Rip Jagger, who, since you didn't see them in the current timeline, you probably knew something was going to happen to them in this flashback, which obviously it did. But my favorite aspect of this movie were these flashback sequences where you just really dove into the training, or part of the training Bruce received to become Batman. And this aspect of it was just really well done. And just having him be with other students here, I just really like the character dynamics between him, Richard Dragon, Ben Turner, and Shiva. It was just all really well done, both in the past and in the present. And there were just some really great moments diving into Bruce's psyche here as he was training to become Batman. One of my favorite moments of the movie, and probably just a really cool new way of showing what drives Batman. It was just awesome. Part of the training the sensei gives his students is to continue pounding this rock until it breaks. Just do it until it breaks. And so the students see that it's not having what they're doing is not having much of an effect. They're just bruising their hands, they're bleeding, there's blood all over the rocks just from hitting it so hard. And eventually all of them just decide to leave and give up on it, but not Bruce. And this is determination. And the sensei kind of tells them, the point of it is to show that there's certain things you can't control or can't be done or out of your control. But Bruce doesn't want to hear that. That drive, that determination. And the sensei knows why he's there, obviously, because of what happens to his parents. And even when he tells him he could stop, Bruce just, wow, it's kind of something that can't be done. That's how he tries to explain. You're here to train to get rid of crime and eliminate crime, but that is something that is beyond your control. You just can't do it. And why Bruce does stop for a little bit once the sensei leaves, he just goes back to pounding that rock. I just love how it just shows how once he's Batman, he's never going to stop doing what he does to stop crime. Even though he knows he's not going to fully eliminate it, it's not going to stop him from trying, from doing it. It was just a really cool visualization of part of Bruce's training, to showing that determination that we come to expect for him as Batman. It was just great. So I loved all the flashback training stuff was just really well done. But then the stuff in the current timeline was cool too, because The main villain is the Cobra Cult. They're trying to gain access to this kind of like this hidden door in that area where Bruce is training to access their almost like their messiah or their god that they want to bring about out of this realm that he's imprisoned in. And so they're trying to get to that chamber and steal this sword that the sensei left entrusted to Lady Shiva. And so once Richard Dragon kind of finds out what's going on, he goes to recruit Bruce. Bruce joins up with them. They meet up with Shiva, then later Ben Turner, Bronze Tiger, and it's just all, of course, their meetups leads to some cool action sequences and this them kind of getting reunited and reacquainted with each other, and just great dynamics between all these characters. They're showing the different personalities that trained together and went to this sensei to learn martial arts, and just how different each one of them is and with their own different reasons too. And obviously, Lady Shiva is more of a villain, an adversary to Batman in previous stories, and she's kind of still in the criminal underworld here, but yet I just love how all four of them have that bond by training together, and they kind of put aside their differences and just to go and stop Cobra from getting into that chamber. And just the idea too, like I said, it's mainly Bruce working with these other characters, not Batman. But once Richard Dragon sees Bruce as Batman in his costume for the first time, he's just kind of impressed by it, that this is the direction Bruce took with his training and just how effective it is, because Richard Dragon sees the look on the criminals and their enemies' faces once they see Batman in that costume, just how terrified they can be. And throughout the movie, Richard Dragon's kind of pressuring Bruce, hey, I need you at your best, so you better be in your costume by the time we face down against Cobra and their enemies. So I just like that dynamic. Even though we didn't see much of Batman throughout the course of the movie, it was something that was coming, especially at the end, because Richard Dragon is saying, this is where you're at your best, Bruce, in your Batman costume. So just a little dynamic to that aspect of Bruce, and as far as him fighting as Bruce and as Batman, I thought was pretty neat. So yeah, without going into full much spoilers on it, but the ending kind of leads to what you expect. They go to stop Cobra from when they're so close to opening that chamber to release that being, that god. I can't remember its name right now, but it comes to a pretty cool climactic action sequence. Was just not all four of them fighting together, but coming face to face with their sensei again, and just showing how far advanced their sensei is, and just what they could have learned from him, but also too to seeing the training that Batman received, just how he can still go up against certain odds that seem impossible, but yet with his training, he can not necessarily overcome them and gain complete victory, but stand on his own to where most cannot. And that was just cool to see. And yeah, so I really like this movie a lot, just from its story, from its characters. Like, the characters are the standout for this. It was all four of them just had great chemistry together, and I would just love to see more stories. And the way the movie ended, it can continue where we can get more stories with these four characters, which would be cool. I would love to see that. So hopefully this one does well. But I just really enjoyed it, just from that build of it being a throwback to 1970s kung fu action movies. It really delivered on that. That kind of would have been enough for me to really enjoy it. But the fact you throw in all those flashbacks with Bruce training, and just certain scenes, like I mentioned, was him pounding that rock, just really driving home the point as far as what really motivates him as to be so determined as Batman to let nothing stand in his way to fulfill that promise of raging war on criminals. So it was just good to see those little elements thrown in there too, where that really just makes you appreciate the story and what they're doing with their characters. So I really enjoyed this one. I think this is one of the ones that's going to stand out amongst the now massive library of the DC animated movies, especially ones that mainly focus on Batman. I think this one really is a standout. So definitely worth checking out. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 5. So if you're one of those who don't see every DC animated movie and kind of just want to pick and choose and just see the ones that are really, really good, I would definitely throw this one amongst the ones that is really, really good. I think you'll really enjoy it.
Have the Turtles ever gone back and had Bruce Lee in one of their movies or animated shows? Or
no, I don't think they've had a Bruce Lee crossover. Not yet, anyway. I could kind of see that happening.
Seems like they would fit right in, but
There's I forget what issue it is, but there was a kind of a comic, a TMNT comic, of course, but they were like having a flashback of them younger watching these action karate kung fu movies, and all of them's mentioning their like favorite kung fu or martial arts actor. One, like Michelangelo mentions Jackie Chan, Donatello mentions I forget who he mentions, but Leo mentions Bruce Lee and just how he's the best of them all. And just another reason why Leo's my favorite turtle. He just knows the best of the best and recognize that Bruce Lee truly is the best of the best. But that's the one moment I think where I remember them, like Bruce Lee being mentioned in a turtle story. But they haven't used the time scepter at all to go back to the 60s or 70s to meet up with Bruce Lee. Not yet, anyway.
Well, they're using it in the current comic, so
yeah, you never know. Yeah, it could come up pretty soon.
Yeah. By the way, Last Ronin issue number 2 comes out next week.
Finally, I know.
I guess by the time you listen to this, it already came out.
Yeah, so,
I'd highly recommend it.
Yeah, so we'll be sure to talk about it on our next episode.
Yep.
Yeah, because that first issue was really good.
We will.
All right, so that was my review of Batman Soul of the Dragon, a delayed review, but I still wanted to talk about it because I really, really enjoyed it. But then also kind of catching up on some news topics that have happened the last few weeks. One big one that I'm excited about is for Titans Season 3, which should be going into production pretty soon. But they're bringing Tim Drake into the season. Now, the one negative on this could be where bringing in too many characters, because Titans Season 2 kind of had that problem where it didn't know where to focus on so many characters with its original cast and new characters being brought in. So we'll see how they play because Barbara Gordon's going to be in it as well. And now they're bringing in Tim Drake. But I just can't help but be excited that we're finally going to get a live action Tim Drake. And it's a long time coming. So you have Dick in the series, you have Jason Todd in the series now. We're going to get Tim Drake. So we'll see. I don't think they're going to go the Robin route right away, but I'm sure they're going to set that up because we know Jason Todd is going to be Red Hood this season. So they probably at least want to introduce Tim to have him set up to become the new Robin. So right away, this is going to be something different because obviously Jason never died in this series. He's coming as Red Hood. Things are going to be playing a lot differently than we're used to. And I'm sure that will be the same with Tim Drake. But there's still stuff that I really like what I'm reading in the description. And by the way, he's being played by an actor named Jay LaCrugo, who I'm not too familiar with. But what's pretty funny is that he has a minor role in the Batman coming up. He's one of those gang members with the makeup on their face that's standing in the crowd before Batman beats down on one of them. So if you want to get an early glimpse of the actor in a Batman setting, that's a good question. What's going to come out first? The Batman or Titans Season 3? We don't know. But either way, we're going to see him in 2 Batman projects, which has got to be cool for him as an actor. But I did really like the description that the official release for Tim Drake. It says he's described as a streetwise kid who's managed to grow up on the toughest streets without losing his belief in heroism. His easygoing demeanor is backed up by a near genius mind, a natural detective with a perception of detail far beyond his years. And that's Tim Drake right there. When I read the first part of that, seeing that he's growing up in the toughest streets in Gotham, I was thinking, okay, is he going to be, the smart mouth street punk kid who doesn't believe in heroes and has to be convinced that he's meant to be a hero, all that type of stuff. But no, he still, like I said, has his easygoing demeanor, which Tim has, backed up by a near genius mind and that just belief in heroism, because obviously that's the foundation of why Tim became Robin, just his belief in heroism in Batman and Robin together. So I like that they're keeping the core elements of the character in this description. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. Hopefully it's not something that feels crammed in and unfocused where they're just juggling too many characters. That's the one concern. But at the same time, like I said at the beginning, I can't help but be excited to finally see a live action Tim Drake. And it looks like they're going with a characterization of the character that's based off the comics or taking inspiration from the comics pretty well. So we'll see how it plays out, but something I'm looking forward to in Titan Season 3 whenever it does air, which might not be this year, maybe next year, who knows, but definitely looking forward to it.
You know, one character, with all these new DC shows,
Mm-hmm.
Titans, the new Gotham show.
You mean the Gotham Police Department show?
The Gotham Police, whatever it's called.
I was going to say the new Gotham show. Gotham ended.
Yeah, the new Gotham Police show, the old Gotham, the Arrow show, the Flash show, the Supergirl show. Am I missing any, Tim?
Yeah, you're probably missing a few. There's so many.
Yeah.
You got DC's Legends of Tomorrow.
Legends of Tomorrow.
Black Lightning. You got
Black Lightning.
Stargirl. Stargirl is really good, though, that first season.
Stargirl. Yeah. With all these shows, they should bring in Ace the Bat Hound.
They should. They definitely
just
should.
one of these shows can have him on. I think that he's the one, or she, is the one piece missing from all these shows, Tim.
Well, they got Crypto in Titans, so they should bring in Ace to hang out with Crypto in one of these episodes.
Yeah, they can be friends.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, or just have your own show, Ace the Bat Hound.
I think he did have his own animated, like him and Crypto had like these shorts, like designed for real young audience, I think.
Right. But live action. Let's do it live action. I mean, if we can have a Scooby Doo movie, Tim, if we can have a Sonic movie, I think we can have an Ace Bat Hound CGI show.
Well, the best Ace the Bat Hound was in Batman Beyond. That was actually kind of my first introduction to Ace.
Really?
He had a great episode called Ace in the Hole, which kind of shows how Bruce found Ace and became his dog. That was a great one.
But yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I would love that. And then also some quick updates on Justice League, the Snyder Cut, which is now just a little over a month away. The release date got revealed during our hiatus that it's coming out March 18th, a little sooner than I expected. I thought maybe kind of middle 2021, but hey, the sooner the better for me. So that's coming out March 18th, and a new trailer is dropping tomorrow as we're recording this episode. So by the time this comes out, it'll already be out and you'll be seeing it already. But Zack Snyder has been tweeting out some teases of the trailer. And I gotta say, it's looking great. I mean, obviously, if you like the style that Zack Snyder does, and certain shots just look really cool. That one of Superman in his black suit about to fire his laser beams. Darkseid is looking amazing. Now, I'm not getting my hopes up that Darkseid is going to be in it a lot, but the few scenes he is in, he looks awesome. It looks exactly how I'd hope he'd be in live action. He looks great. So I'm getting more excited for it than now that we're so close to it. But yeah, we still got the whole social media aspect that kind of brings down the excitement. Just the people just crapping on the movie and just having problems with it. Then you got people who are overpraising it and saying it's going to be the greatest thing ever. It's just like,
so what are people saying for on both sides?
Typical like this Zack Snyder style type movie and the mindless action of it, and some people are going overboard with saying like extreme stuff as far as trying to raise controversy about it, which is like they're just pulling for certain things. I think that there was one tweet saying, because you see Steppenwolf taking down some Amazons and saying Zack Snyder supports violence against women because of that, and it's just kind of extreme stuff where they're just looking for controversy. And then you got the people praising it, this like overpraise. Oh, this is, like Zack Snyder is like the god of directors, and this movie is already a masterpiece, and the greatest trilogy of all time is Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and Justice League, the Snyder Cut. It's like, let's just calm down a bit. Let's just calm down. I mean, well, obviously it's going to be a 4-hour movie, so you cannot judge it based on these little clips that I mean, don't get me wrong, the DC fan, they look awesome, but let's just wait for the whole movie. And so, yeah, that's the only part that just sours the anticipation for a bit, because there's just so extremes on both sides, which is just like, wow, like where do these people get this stuff? But yeah, so regardless of that, I'm looking forward to seeing that trailer when it drops, because I've been enjoying these teases that Zack Snyder has been showing on Twitter, which has been looking cool. But then the other big thing regarding the Snyder Cut is that we got our first official look at Jared Leto's new look as Joker in the movie, which has been confirmed. He's only going to be in the dream nightmare sequence of the film. So we'll see. Now, again, in a 4-hour movie, that could be an hour's worth. So who knows? Maybe we'll see a lot of his Joker. But I got to say, I really like this look of the Joker so much better than he was in Suicide Squad. The damage tattoos and the other tattoos on his face are gone. He just looks like a messed up, sadistic Joker. He has long hair. He's in the shot of it is he's like wearing a long straight jacket. He looks to be in prison, but it looks like a Joker is seen and been through and done a lot. It just looks like an evil Joker you would expect in this more darker DC universe. So I really like it. I think it's going to go good with obviously the universe that's already been established in here, more so than what we saw of him in Suicide Squad. And just looking forward to seeing this Joker and Batman dynamic that we haven't seen before in this universe. And maybe this, again, Jared Leto's performance wasn't our favorite Joker portrayal, I think it's safe to say. So maybe it'd be something a little different here that hopefully will give us that same feel of just, again, seeing a great conversation between Batman and Joker that you just love to see, whether it's in movies, animation, or comics. And I'm just hoping maybe we get that, even if it's a little short sequence here in this one. But his look, I really, really do like it. It's just obviously something that's more of a different take on the Joker. But I think there's been some comic looks of the Joker where he's had long hair and just looks more beat down and run down like he does in this image. So it's not something totally new, but something in a movie we haven't seen the Joker look like before. So definitely looking forward to that aspect of it as well, because I really like this look they're going for. And it's only a black and white image, so once I see it in color with the full green long hair and the white makeup on there, it should probably look even cooler. So I am digging what they're doing with the Joker so far in the Snyder Cut.
You know what, Tim? I agree. The first time I saw this image, I thought it looked really good. I'd really like to see it in color because, Zack Snyder really likes the black and white.
Yeah, he likes the black and white reveals, just like the first Batman look.
But yeah, I agree with you. I actually really like this Joker over that first one we got with the grill and the face tattoos. But yeah, I really like this one. You mentioned it, but I really like the long hair. I don't think we've seen a Joker with long hair before. So
yeah, definitely not in a movie.
Yeah, not in a movie, but yeah, I really like it. Hopefully it's a little better than what we've been seeing, because Jared Leto's Joker is probably last on my list of famous Jokers, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with you.
Yeah,
and we know he's a good actor, so like he can give us a good Joker portrayal. So hopefully this will be it.
But I don't know. I mean, like we got Heath Ledger, which is like the iconic one. We got the Joaquin Phoenix, which is the most famous one. I guess Heath Ledger would be the more famous one. The Joaquin Phoenix is the more acclaimed one, I guess you could say, because he won the Oscar.
Well, Heath Ledger did too, so kind of the same boat.
Yeah, I guess so. Dang it. I guess those two are on the same level. I want to. Is there room for a Jared Leto Joker?
It's probably more going to be like almost like a footnote type of portrayal, because he wasn't the main villain in Suicide Squad. He's not going to be the main villain in this. He's just appearing in a few movies as the Joker. So it's like he never really got a chance to shine as a story that really focuses on the Joker. So it's just kind of going to be some, like I said, when you look at the actors who play the Joker, more of a footnote type, because I don't think he really got the chance to portray the Joker in a full-blown story that focused on it like the other actors did.
Yeah, you're probably right. But regardless, I like the look.
That's a plus.
Yeah,
So you got something
it's
positive to say about Justice League, the Snyder
yeah.
Cut, all right? You got your first thing.
This isn't my quote, but this is the Joker going through his goth phase.
Yeah.
I took
It'll
that
be a
from
matter
Twitter.
of time living in Gotham, so you have to go through a goth phase. So yeah, those are just some of the news items that I wanted to talk about on this episode. So more stuff to look forward to with Justice League coming up in the next few weeks up until the movie comes out. But with that, I can go into our comic book reviews, or this one's kind of going to be a recap of the latest, or I should say the first two issues of the Batman comic, or I was going to say the Batman Comic Woman comic, but it's the Batman Catwoman
Comic
comic
Woman.
series.
Comic Woman.
Is there a superhero called Comic Woman?
I don't know, but yeah, Comic Woman. Tim, we can start it now.
There you go. We'll get a patent and we'll start coming up with a story, get an artist on it, and we'll be
She
comic
dresses
creators.
she dresses up as a giant comic book.
Yeah, we got to think
She
about the
fights-
origin really carefully.
She
Don't wanna make
fights
it
other
too
comic
cheesy.
books. There's a evil comic book. There's a clown comic book.
Her main villain would be a graphic novel or a trade paperback.
Yeah. Yeah, or a novel. Period.
Oh, there you go.
Because there's no pictures in novels.
I think we may have something here, Dane.
I don't know. Let's pitch it, Tim. Let's
Yes.
pitch it.
I'll make an appointment with DC, and if that doesn't work, we'll go to Marvel. We can go to IDW, Image,
And then
or we could just,
after all
after all that fails, we could be like Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, the creators of TMNT, and just do it ourselves. Create our own comic studios.
yeah, let's do it, Tim.
All right,
Let's,
you heard it here first.
Let's waste a bunch of time
And money.
and money, and then self-release ourselves.
Yeah. But no, I'm talking about Batman and Catwoman. Even though now I kind of want to talk about Comic Book Woman. But I'm kind of going to go over the big general story of the first two issues. I don't think I talked about the first one since our break, but these are kind of the only main new DC title I'm reading right now. So I at least wanted to still talk about some comics as we get the chance to. But as always, probably going into spoilers on these first two issues because some big stuff does happen, and we got to give our rating scale for this episode. So now I'm thinking it has to be something to do with Comic Book Woman. How about
go ahead?
Comic Book Woman stories that Tim and Dane can come up with before the end of the episode or something like that?
I was thinking more about publishers that'll reject this stupid idea.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll go with that one.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Batman and Catwoman. I've said before, I'll say it again, wasn't the biggest fan of Tom King's run on Batman. Very hit and miss for me. And I wasn't even sure if I was going to be reading the story issue to issue and just maybe wait for the trade or when it goes on DC Universe Infinite. But once I heard Phantasm and Andrea Beaumont was going to be a main character in this, and I saw the artwork, I was like, sign me up. I'll be getting it. And just right off the bat, Clayman's artwork in the series has been amazing. There's just a lot of great detail he puts into these characters. I just love how he draws the Phantasm. There's this great scene in issue 2 where it's just the full page is this really great piece of art with the Phantasm behind this gray clouded background. She's holding her gauntlets full of blood, and she says the iconic quote, "Your angel of death awaits." It just looks amazing. Phantasm in the main DC continuity in comics looks great. And what I liked about the story too, and how it's setting up with Andrea, she's going to Bruce for help, beginning of the first issue is her talking with Bruce in his library. And it seems like a lot of what happened in Phantasm is pretty much in canon, as far as their last confrontation being with the Joker and how she disappeared. She was Bruce's first love, and everything that went down. At least the basic story plots of the Phantasm seem to be in place here in this continuity. And I really like that. I'm glad they're, so far anyway, not changing too much, even though they're totally separate universes. That story of the Phantasm and Andrea is so good in Mask of the Phantasm. Why not just keep it for the story? And so she's basically going for Bruce to help because she has a son, and he's gone missing in Gotham. And she's coming back asking for Bruce to kind of help to see what he could do to help track him down and find out where he's at. So Bruce and Catwoman go and make their search to try to find out where she could be, or her son could be. And throughout the issue, it's taking place here in the present and in the very future, because Tom King did have that issue where it had Catwoman and Batman kind of as an older couple, and Bruce dies of old age there. And this takes place after Bruce dies. So Catwoman is an old woman here going to see an old man who's an old friend in this house, and she's going to tell him that Bruce has died. And we don't know who he is just yet, but someone who's familiar with both her and Bruce being Batman and Catwoman. But what I also liked about this first issue here is the animated series callbacks that Tom King does. One of the first places that Bruce and Selina go to start their search was a place that Selina found herself growing up with as an orphan kid who was kind of on the streets. And they go to the Sewer King from the episode The Underdwellers of Batman the Animated Series. And his design it almost looks exactly like he does in the animated series. He has his crocodiles that he pits against Batman and Catwoman. So I like that touch, because we know he took in these runaway kids and he treated them horribly. But it would make a logical sense to where maybe this was where Andrea's son would be at. So Catwoman decides to go to see the Sewer King. So just a nice nod to a villain you don't hear much about, who was created just for the animated series. So that was a nice touch. Then another big flux of the story is Catwoman and Joker. Catwoman goes to steal this this diamond necklace, not a diamond, a golden necklace that is in the shape of a cat off this hitman for the Bertinelli crime family. And she goes to steal it, and Joker is there, who already killed him, but she still wants the necklace. So she takes it and steals it, but she didn't kill him. And Joker's kind of tell her, you're trying to be a hero with Batman, but you know who you really are. You're really still a villain, and you're just kind of like duping Batman. But Catwoman's trying to deny it. And then she tries to find more of her contacts to find out where Andrea's son is. She pulls a Batman, hangs someone off a rooftop to get some information, and he tells her that Andrea's son is trying to hook him up with someone, and she goes, who? And he says his father. And once we see that caption says with his dad, there's this panel of Batman. So I'm wondering if they're hinting Batman is the father, and Andrea's son is about 14 years old. So I don't know how long the gap has been from, especially now with the continuity, not knowing how long Batman has been Batman in the current DC timeline, but maybe he has been Batman for 14 years, and his early encounters with Andrea would maybe make sense where he could be his son. So I don't know if that's the direction he's going, Tom King here, but they're definitely hinting at that with that panel of Batman with the caption saying with his dad. So the Catwoman and Batman do eventually find his whereabouts, and Andrea's son's name is Andrew, and they find him in this tent under this bridge of a highway, and he's dead. He's been seemingly killed by the Joker because he has the grin on his face, and his face is in that pale white skin. So he is dead, and Andrea believes that it's the Joker is behind it. And when they ask Andrea where his father is, she says he's dead also. So we still don't know what angle Tom King's going with as far as who Andrew's father is going to be. If it's Batman or if it's going to be someone totally else. But then at the end of issue 1, we see Catwoman consoling the old man she's visiting, telling him about Bruce. But then she says, I'm glad I'm here because I finally get to kill you now. Then it gets revealed that the old man she's seen is actually the Joker. Kind of disguising himself as definitely an old man, but making himself look like a normal old man. But then the wig, the fake glasses, the fake makeup come off, and we see that it's actually the Joker. And then the first issue ends with we see Andrea visiting the Wayne Cemetery, which is a nice touch because we know that was an important moment in her life because that's where she met Bruce when she was visiting her mother and he was visiting his parents, and that's where they first met. But buried under the tomb of her mother is the Phantasm costume, and she's bringing it out to, exact revenge on those she felt were responsible for her son's murder. And that's where the next issue picks up, where we see her just picking off a lot of Joker's henchmen and just hired goons, so to speak. Anyone associated with the Joker, she's taking out. And Batman and Catwoman are investigating it and just kind of trying to pinpoint where she's going to strike next. But at the same time, too, Batman is growing suspicious of that murder Joker did of that Bertinelli hitman that Catwoman stole the necklace from. And he's kind of getting closer and closer to figuring out that Catwoman might be responsible for taking that necklace and not really fully giving up her ways of crime. And she's trying to get the Joker to make sure he doesn't reveal that she took the necklace. So she goes to see him. She throws it right back at him, because he doesn't want to screw up her relationship with Batman, not again. And so that's kind of the other crux of the second issue, of just Batman trying to solve that and find out for sure that Selina isn't still living a life of crime, and let alone working with the Joker still. And she flat out lies to Batman when he calls her out on it. And just basically just asking, like, were you there with the Joker? And she just flat out tells him, no, she wasn't. And so that's obviously going to cause some problems later. But throughout the course of this issue, we could see Phantasm killing different members of Joker's gang or other past henchmen. And while in the future time period where we see the old Selina and the old Joker, they're like still kind of playing friendly with each other, but yet Catwoman's there to kill him, and Joker is probably going to try to stop her, but yet he offers her water if he wants some ice in her water, still acting very friendly. But when Joker brings out a gun, he had a gun hidden in the freezer. Instead of bringing Selina her water, he brings out a gun and just starts shooting out in his living room, trying to get the jump on her, but he doesn't. Selina sneaks up from behind him and just whacks him with a photograph frame. And she just tells her, like, I waited so long for this. Now I can't get Andrea out of my head. I keep seeing her. And she said, I just used to beg Batman to do it, or at least for me to do it, like for him to be the only victim that she could kill for the Joker, for her to kill the Joker, I should say. But Batman being Batman wouldn't allow it, of course. But seeing Selina's dialogue here just makes me wonder, what else did Joker do to Andrea? To me, it's just more than him seemingly killing her son. Something's going to go down in the past timeline where Joker and Phantasm, they're going to have, and probably Catwoman, are going to have a confrontation with each other, and it's not going to go good. And I'm just really curious to see what that's going to be. And so Selina does eventually deal the killing blow to the Joker, where she just uses her nails and just slices his neck, and he just bleeds out. And that's where the issue ends in that future timeline. But back to the present with Batman and Catwoman, they see the bat signal glow in the sky, and it looks a little different. And so they know it's not Gordon. And it's actually the Joker who's calling for the help. And he realizes Phantasm's killing a bunch of his men, and he needs some protection. So he shoots out his gun with the white flag and just says, Batman, I surrender. And he says, save me, Batman, please save me. So that's where it ends there. Then I got a little ahead of myself, where that's after that, Batman is where he just flats out asks Catwoman if she was there with the Joker when she stole that necklace. But that's where she lies and says no. And so, yeah, that's where this issue in the story is at so far. I'm enjoying the dynamic between Batman and Catwoman, and just where Joker's fitting in with all this, not to mention Andrea and just her being thrown into the mix and kind of being the crux of the story that's probably going to have a big effect on Batman and Catwoman's relationship. So far, it's moving along nicely. It's not, it's more in the positive vein of issues that I had with Tom King's run, more so than the negatives right now. I'm really enjoying it. And then the artwork is just, I would dare say it's worth it on that alone. Clayman is just doing a great job with the art, especially with the Phantasm. She just looks amazing on every panel that she's in.
Hey, Tim.
Yeah.
What is that name of the artist?
Clayman.
Clayman.
Yeah, not Clayface. Clayman with two N's.
Oh, okay. So Clay, Clay?
Yeah.
Clayman. Wow.
Just type in Clayman, maybe Phantasm, and you'll see that great piece of
Yeah,
art.
I'm looking it up right now. Phantasm. Let's see. Oh wow. Yeah, that looks good.
Yes, doesn't
That looks
it?
really good.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so that's the biggest selling point for me on the story in the series is Phantasm and this how amazing she looks in the art. And so far the story is doing it justice too. So hopefully it continues on this path. I believe it's 12 or 13 issues. It's a pretty long run, so it's going to be a while to get a final determination if this overall story is going to end up being a new Batman classic or not. But so far it's on the right path. So for issue number 1, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great kicking off point to the story and how it brought in Andrea and the Phantasm and the arc. So I'm going to give that one 4.5 comic publishers that reject our comic book woman ideas. And then for issue 2, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3.5 comic book publishers that rejected our comic book woman ideas. So not as many for issue 2, but issue 1 was so good we had a lot of rejections.
All right, so I guess that's it. Right?
Yeah, that's going to do it for this one. So as always, I'll throw it to you, Dane, for the outro.
All right, just go over to BatmanUniverse.net, Facebook.com/BatmanUniverse. Tim's Twitter handle is at TimG311, and my Twitter handle is at BatmanSaysBanana. The show's Twitter handle is at Bat-Fans Podcast. You can email the show at batfans@gmail.com. So with that, like we say at the end of every single episode, Tim,
we love each and every one of you with all of our comic book woman hearts, no matter how many rejections we get from comic publishers.
yeah. We'll see you guys next time.
See you next time, everybody.